Hello everyone, my name is Muir, and this is Starsector version 0.95.1a-RC6, and this is the Harbinger class phase destroyer. We can call this the Antimatter Blaster Harbinger if you want. What this build really does is it focuses around the principle of doing extremely high burst damage while still being able to do something about enemy fighters. Because the Harbinger just isn't like the frigates. It's not fast enough to escape enemy fighters. The frigates can at least run away from them and get away pretty easily, while the Harbinger and the Doom are not capable of doing that. Nor is the Ziggurat, as far as I understand, but it doesn't have to worry about that. It doesn't have that problem. So, what do we have here? Well, we have expanded missile racks for more of these. Hardened subsystems, so it lasts longer in combat, and unstable injector, so it goes faster. Then we have expanded expanded magazines, so we have more shots here. And safety overrides and a phase anchor, just so we can have this thing be able to fire as often as possible and stay as low on flux as possible as well. So we have 7 vents, that brings us to a total of like 2440, and that is actually really useful because with the changes in phase ships in RC in 0.95.1a, phase ships get slower as they have more flux, which means the higher your vents are, the more likely you are to stay at low flux, which means the faster you will most likely be overall. So, if we take the officer off, we see that we have a pretty decent speed here. So let's go ahead and test this out against things. So what about a destroyer? So this shouldn't have any problem against an enemy destroyer whatsoever. It sort of just does more damage than a Shade does, while at the same time being able to take the enemy's shields down, like that. So you're primarily going to be using the phase anchor to recharge your antimatter blasters more quickly, and then using your skills basically just to get into position and also burn off your soft flux. Now it's okay if everything doesn't fire at the same time. As we can see, he decided to vent there, and that cost him somewhat dearly. Not as bad as it could be, but he's practically dead, and we haven't really suffered at all. Now we're going to turn off his shields and kill him. But yeah, this works pretty well in that situation. It works. The same scenario basically plays out against Dominators and Onslaughts. We just get around them and then shoot them. Now, if something has 360 shields, the antimatter blasters are going to do hard flux damage, which is great, because that's what we ultimately want to happen. So again, we are interested in just recharging our antimatter blasters and then shooting the enemy. As you can see, we are so slow. Okay, but let's back off. Let's let our flux burn off. Let's go back in and let's do some damage. And well, as we can see, he's almost dead just from getting shot like that. He's trying to run, but we can always just sort of feather our phase a little bit and chase him down while we do this. He has a lot of point defense, but unfortunately for him, our missiles are not our primary source of damage. Our antimatter blasters are. And there he goes. We've basically not taken any damage, and he's dead. Okay, so the same thing will play out with Onslaughts, and then we'll see how well it does against, say, massed fighters, which Harbingers are notoriously bad against. Alright, let's go ahead and phase over here. And let's give him everything that we can. Let's let our antimatter blasters recharge. Alright, sounds good. Now let's let those recharge, and then we will burn off our hard flux, go back in, and do some more damage. And in about, 4 or 5 shots, salvos, I suppose, he'll be about as dead as he can be. But let's let our hard flux burn off again. And then let's go on in and take him and keep doing lots of good damage to him. Now you could always just stay here and keep shooting him. That works too. But now that he's low on health, there's actually something else we want to do, and that is we want to go in, shoot, and immediately phase so that we don't get hit by the explosion. One of those little things you can do that will help you out. So, Harbingers are notoriously bad against massed fighters. So what happens if we throw our 16-point Harbinger against, say, 3 Condors? And what else can we throw at it? Yeah, 3 Condors. That should be fine. 3 dedicated carriers. Well, what's going to happen here is these recharge pretty quickly. Especially in P-Space, with a phase anchor. So you're kind of able to just spam those out. Like, absolute crazy. As soon as you can come out of P-Space after they fire, you're going to want to just slide out again so they can fire again. And then when we get over here, we're just going to do some quick damage to them. Go back in the P-Space, shoot out more missiles, and then come over here and make sure we kill them off. But yeah, everything tends to work pretty well. But let's finish this guy off. Okay, that's 1 down. We ate some bombs, but nothing too bad. But our ability to essentially spam those anti-fighter missiles means that we can sort of take care of some of these guys. We can sort of take care of them rather quickly as well. But it isn't fail-safe, it isn't foolproof, but it will at least do the trick to a minimal degree. But let's go after this guy. Because we were able to stay relatively fast due to keeping our flux hyper low, or very low, we're kind of able to move relatively quickly for the most part all the time and not worry too much about getting too slow, which is usually the death of many phase ships. But let's go finish this guy off in a glorious, explosion. And let's just test something. What happens when we let our flux get to the highest? Because this is usually how most AI flying phase ships die. Is their phase coil stress gets too high, and then they get trapped in this loop. Taking it down, going back into P-Space, trying to get in, and basically trying to get in and out of P-Space. But let's see how it works here. How much can it get to before we have to come out? So they'll be a little faster. Well, actually they won't, because we're using a phase anchor. But they can get through about half of its hard flux before it can go into P-Space. But there we go. Really strong design here. One of the primary uses for Harbingers is killing enemy stations. So let's just see if you can actually do that. The main job that these guys have typically is to take out enemy stations and in some way, shape, or form be able to take down their shields just at the right moment and deal a bunch of damage to them. So the Harbinger has the ability to do that. It's not a great amount. It's not as good as it is with the Reaper sort of setup, but it would be able to do it eventually. I'm not too sure he'd be able to take that station out by himself, but maybe he could. Maybe he could. Maybe he could. Maybe he wouldn't. if you went after a Hanger first. But there we go. That is the phased Harbinger. This guy works. This guy works pretty well. Uses antimatter blasters for that sweet burst damage. Uses swarm missiles to try and clear out fighters, so he doesn't just get chased to death by enemy fighters. And hopefully everything works out pretty well. So guys, go ahead and let me know how this works out for you in your games. And yeah, so just let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys next time. Go ahead and leave me a like, comment, subscribing that bell, and just share the video with whoever you think would like it, and I'll see you later. Bye everyone.